Los Angeles police finally sat down with Corey Feldman and listened to his allegations of child sex abuse. And Corey Feldman is feeling what? Well, let's just say the actor doesn't exactly feel vindicated. He's been trying for decades to get police to investigate charges of pedophilia in Hollywood. He claims both he and Corey Haim were molested as children. I sat down with Feldman for a freewheeling interview. It was fascinating. While you were sitting there and you were talking to the detectives, I mean, emotionally, what was that like for you?
You know, I would love to give you something that's very juicy, but I have to be honest with you. My nerves are like shot right now. I've been going through so much emotionally because of this. I'm living in fear, which is not a good place to be.
What do you fear?
Okay, so there's the guys that I'm going after that I've given names for, and then there's a few more, but there's one more that I haven't given the name for. But these guys are lower level guys. They're not the ones I'm afraid of.
So you have one high-powered name that we all would know.
Right.
That you haven't revealed.
But he didn't abuse me, so it's a very tricky situation. I have information about it, but he didn't abuse me.
Did you tell that to the Los Angeles police when you sat down about that famous person, even though that person didn't abuse you?
Yes.
And did they take that seriously?
Well, yeah, but again, they can't investigate a crime that's hearsay.
How did that feel to finally say the names publicly?
It did feel good. It did feel good. It felt good to get that off my chest. I mean, again, so many people in town knew about this, and yet nobody said anything. And everybody's just kind of fending for themselves, trying to do the best they can, saying like, well, on one hand, I don't want to lose my job. On the other hand, I want to help this kid. I'm caught in the middle. And I feel like everybody in this town feels that way. And I feel like that's why more people aren't coming and standing with me. But the thing that really disturbs me is I've dedicated my entire life to entertainment. I've dedicated my entire life to Hollywood. And at this point, I can name the people that have vocally stood beside me on 10 fingers. And that's just vocally. Out of all these wealthy actors and producers in Hollywood who have been my friends, who have taken my side, why has not one of them come up and said, hey, I want to help you get that movie made. Here's a donation. Not one.
Kevin Spacey, the allegations coming out against him. I just wanted to get your reaction to that because there are allegations that he abused an actor when the actor was 14 years old.
Mm-hmm. I think it's disgusting if it's true. Based on what I've read, these are very inappropriate actions, period. You just don't push yourself aggressively sexually on anybody under 18. And why is that so hard to understand? It's been very clear for me. You've never heard a story about me trying to date somebody underage, right? And they say the abused people are the more inclined to have issues when they grow up. I mean, yeah, I may have been a sexual deviant, you know, throughout my life because I have a overly sexual stimulated mind because of what I've been through. That's fair enough, but I would, you know, never hurt a child.
You know, all this stuff about Harvey Weinstein, all of the sexual harassment allegations coming out against various Hollywood figures. Why do you think people are taking them seriously now?
Well, I think when you have multiple people coming forward about any one person, it makes it a lot harder to not take it seriously.
Is that why it was hard for people to really listen to your allegations, because it was just you?
That's why I'm the solo voice, you know, the one guy out there that's been saying this. And that's what frustrates me so much. I'm not the only guy who knows this information.
So what do you think will happen? What happens now in Hollywood?
Well, I think it's time for a good purge. I really do. I think the best way to resolve this, and, you know, if you ask me what would I do if I was in charge, and I'm not, but if I was, would pre-screen every single writer, producer, director, casting director, every crew member, everybody that came through the studio. I would screen them, and if they have no sexual misconduct, no harassment of children, nothing like that in the record, they're fine to work here. If there's one blemish, they're gone. That's it, out of the business, period.
Will there ever come a day when you'll name that famous person publicly?
Again, you know, there's the guys that I can come after because legally I have the right to say who harmed me. And the right to say who harmed my friend, that's another question. That's a whole other legal thing. So that's why I'm asking people to donate to my campaign, to give me the protection and the legal protection that I need so that I can make the film. And what I'm hoping...
So once you have that legal protection in the film, you'll name that person in your film.
I'll be a lot bolder.
Now, the Los Angeles Police Department confirmed to HLN that Corey Feldman had been interviewed and filed a report, but the department refused to give us that report, which is curious because a police report would be public record. We'll continue to work on that. The big question, though, will anyone be charged this